Northern Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir. At least 5 people were killed and 5 are still missing after an avalanche hit their vehicle on a high mountain pass in Ladakh. The avalanche hit the vehicle at Khardungla this morning. The Khardungla, around 34 kilometers from Leh, is a strategic pass which is used to reach supplies to the Indian soldiers stationed in the icy battlefront on Siachen Glacier. The Police, Disaster Relief Force, Indian Army and the Border Roads Organization are engaged in rescue efforts. The upper reaches of Jammu and Kashmir have been receiving heavy snowfall over the past few weeks. All right, joining me live from Srinagar is WION's very own Ishan Wan. Ishan, good evening to you, and let me begin by asking you for an update on the situation of those people still reported missing.
Well, the weather hasn't been really good. As we speak, the mild snowfall has started in Srinagar, so this can give an idea that how harsh it is to carry out these rescue operations in Ladakh, where temperatures are freezing in August. I personally traveled through the Khardungla. It's a very steep pass where the roads are narrow, and it's always dangerous to travel there even in the summer season. So today morning at around 7 a.m. when they were traveling in a particular SUV, a heavy snow avalanche hit their vehicle, which buried them under the heavy snow. So it took forces, including the Indian Army, the people from the Army Warfare School, to reach the particular spot and try to clear and take out these people. But unfortunately, 5 people have lost their lives, and it's a really sad situation for their families as well. The 5 people still continue to be trapped under the snow, under the debris of this particular avalanche. This is a strategic road for the Indian Army, and the Border Roads Organization manned this particular area because this is a strategic road through which the supplies up through to the Siachen Glacier and other parts of the Ladakh as well. So this is the place where you go to travel to Pangong Lake, to Nubra Valley as well. A part of Indian Army's contingent is also stationed near the Khardungla Pass, so that if there is a need of any support in such situations, so that they can deal with this. But it gets really stormy even in the month of August at around that place. The state army has pressed into the service their special team which deals with such situations, which is called as High Altitude Warfare School. They are there, but it's really difficult as the time passes, and it's an evening time, so it's difficult for the rescue team to carry out these operations. But the administration has given all the necessary equipments and the machinery to these people so that they can deal with this particular situation. We see regularly in those areas, particularly in Kashmir Valley, the authorities have been issuing alarms and saying that there could be avalanche in the Kashmir Valley as well. Now the prediction for the next 5 days is a heavy snowfall will start in the Kashmir Valley, which could have more avalanche in coming days. As we speak right now, it has started to snow in the Srinagar as well. So this can give a broader idea that how difficult it's for these forces to carry out this operation in the Ladakh region.
Now, the Missile Defense Review unveiled by US President Donald Trump intends to seek India's cooperation in critical areas. New Delhi has been described as a key element in US's Indo-Pacific strategy. Although both sides have remained tight-lipped so far on this issue, India and the US have reportedly discussed about a possible missile defense cooperation deal, which could dramatically alter the geopolitics in the region. The 81-page Missile Defense Review states, and I quote, "The United States has discussed potential missile defense cooperation with India. This is a natural outgrowth of India's status as a major defense partner and key element of our Indo-Pacific strategy," unquote. The Missile Defense Review, which was unveiled by Trump after a long delay, identifies and extensively dwells on Russia and China as major concerns, who are presently actively enlarging and upgrading their own missile arsenals. But the US Missile Defense Review does not expand on how it seeks to strengthen cooperation with India. Now, some years ago, New Delhi had sought to purchase the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, or THAAD missile defense system from the US. But the Barack Obama government at the time was not keen to share the advanced missile shield technology with India. Consequently, India decided to purchase the S-400 missile defense system from Russia. Now, the Donald Trump government is more forthcoming than Obama to let India procure the advanced THAAD missile defense system. Now, in the missile defense review, Washington intends to expand on the missile shields, which it has already set up in South Korea, Japan and Eastern Europe, besides, of course, the US itself. And it is viewing India as a nation that can play a more proactive role in America's Indo-Pacific strategy. Major fallout of the shutdown in America. For the first time, the world's largest economy is going to remain unrepresented at a meeting of the World Economic Forum at Davos. The summit at Davos in Switzerland is taking place at a time when the world is searching for new headwinds to ride out of the economic slowdown. Trade tensions between the US and China, the challenging task of pushing the world towards a fourth industrial revolution, climate change and rising protectionism and militarization are on the table as the world's political and industrial elite sit down for talks next week in the Alpine resort. But the biggest talking shop of all, America, would be absent from the high table. The White House said that the US delegation will not be traveling to Davos. Trump's press secretary, Sarah Sanders, said that this was because of the 27-day-long government shutdown over funding for a border wall. Sanders said, and I quote, "Out of consideration for the 800,000 great American workers not receiving pay and to ensure his team can assist as needed, President Trump has cancelled his delegation's trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland," unquote. Now, President Trump had already cancelled his own trip to the summit, dashing hopes of a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping and a possible end to the trade war. U.S. Finance Minister Steven Mnuchin, Foreign Minister Mike Pompeo, Commerce Minister Wilbur Ross, Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy Coordination Chris Liddell were among those scheduled to visit Switzerland for the annual conference in Trump's absence. Now that stands cancelled as well. Reports say that overseas trips for senior officials could be difficult to organize at a time when government workers have been furloughed. The US decision is another setback for the World Economic Forum. Earlier, UK Prime Minister Theresa May cancelled her trip to the summit. She is tackling the Brexit crisis and struggling to build consensus on it at home.
Those whose jobs rely on our trade with the EU need that clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. It could have big ramifications for those trade talks with China. There are some trade talks with China scheduled for later this month, January the 30th and January the 31st. Here in Washington, D.C., this decision to cancel the trip to Davos puts huge pressure now on those talks in Washington. Of course, we're in the middle of this 90-day trade truce period where the US has said it won't impose any more tariffs on China. But if we get to the end of this 90-day period and the US and China can't come up with some sort of new trade deal, there's a whole raft of new tariffs due to come into place. You know, the world markets are pretty nervous about that prospect. So, you know, every possible meeting that the US and China can have at the moment is crucial to finding a way out of this trade war that the two sides find themselves in. Just one other point as well about this shutdown, it's affecting staff levels at the US Trade Office. They're currently operating at about a third of their usual staffing levels. So, you know, that's having an impact on the amount of staff who can work and advise these senior officials on trade deals. So, you know, the longer this shutdown goes on, it's not just affecting domestic policies now, it really is spreading over into international US policies and their relationships with other countries around the world.